Welcome back. Still taking phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Bordas & Bordas hotline. Let's go to Mike in Homestead. Mike, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh. How you doing?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, I got to agree with Judy, the first caller. Looking good tonight. That last caller, though, oh, man, come on. You can't remember everything.
I'm telling you, man. I even remember pit volleyball. I gave everybody a shout out around town. But, you know, it is what it is.
So I won't give you a hard time. I wanted to ask about, this is really going to be the best passing offense that this secondary is facing since Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs early on in the season.
I would agree with that.
You think Terrell Edmonds and fifth-round rookie draft pick Marcus Allen hold up back there?
I don't think Allen's going to be enough by himself. I don't think Edmonds will be enough by himself. I think Joe Hayden's got to have a big day. I think you need more probably out of Cody Sensabaugh. I think all those guys have to step up. I think the pass rush is going to have to be the best that it's been. I think that's really one of the things that sticks out. We always talk about the secondary when it comes to facing good passing attacks. I think the difference has been during that 6-game win streak when they faced good passing teams was that there was a better push up front. They got a good rush with 4 guys. They did it with Hayward and with Tuitt the days he was in there. And then when he was out, Javon Hargrave, who did an outstanding job in that 2 games when Stephon Tuitt was out. And that does not get talked about a lot, how good Javon Hargrave has been in the sub package, getting pressure up the middle. That's important. TJ Watt, of course, has been good. He's up there in the Pro Bowl voting. And before Bud Dupree got hurt, wasn't necessarily at an A-plus level, but a solid B-, maybe a C+, was doing just enough to have the Steelers be one of the best pass rushers in the game. And I thought that's what made the difference. If you're going to keep another team in check, because it's hard to shut passing games down. It's just hard. The way the rules are, the way the game is played now, it's virtually impossible to shut a passing game down. But if you want to limit them, one of the best ways to do it is have a good pass rush. And I think that's been the difference for them. And one way to make the secondary's job easier is doing that also. If they can keep that going, I feel a lot better about it Sunday night. Let's go to Jim in Butler. Jim, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh, I want to tax your memory, too. A Steeler from the early 80s, you might not be familiar with.
Okay.
John Rienstra.
I remember the name.
Do you?
What about?
He was out of football because he had emotional problems and he threw up before each game.
Like Willie Beeman style, right?
I was just curious whether he had that same problem in college before the Steelers drafted him.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know if you'd know that, but I appreciate you listening to me.
That might be the strangest question I've ever gotten, and I'm sorry I can't answer it, but thank you for the call. I hope not, for his sake. Does that work as a good answer? I have no idea. That seems like it would be embarrassing. Hopefully that's something that doesn't follow him for most of his adult life, because, man, that would make for awkward stories for your kids. Let's go to Mike in the north side. Mike, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to ask you real quick, where do you think Jeff Capel will be going if he's successful at Pitt? Will he replace Roy Williams next year at North Carolina?
Well, if Jeff Capel's going anywhere, thank you for the call. If he's going anywhere to that kind of caliber, he's going to Duke. He's not replacing Roy Williams. He's going to replace Mike Krzyzewski. He's going to go back to his alma mater and the team he just came from and coached for. I can't see a Duke guy who played at Duke and also had one of the best shots of his career against Duke to send, I think that game went to a double overtime back in '95, if you remember. It was on ESPN, and Dick Vitale lost his voice. Remember that game? I think it was at Cameron Indoor. A guy who did that against Carolina, I can't see him going to Carolina. I see him going back to Durham, if anything else, for that point. I will say this much. When they brought Jeff Capel in, I liked that move from the beginning. I liked it because, if nothing else, Jeff Capel was an ACC coach. He's played in the ACC. He's been an assistant in the ACC. He's recruited in the ACC. So he knows exactly what you need to be in order to be an ACC program. I thought that was the part that they nailed. How long he stays, I don't know. But we know it's probably going to come, like you mentioned. If Pitt takes off the way Jeff Capel might be able to get them there, it could happen within the next 4 to 5 years. Just enjoy it for now. Enjoy the ride getting back up to where you used to be and maybe even ahead of that point. If nothing else, just enjoy it, because I'm from the school that's about 5 miles away, and we haven't enjoyed that wave in about 40 years. That's all I'm saying. Pete in Squirrel Hill. Pete, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Josh, how are you tonight, my friend?
Good, how are you?
All right, 2 quick points. Number 1, about the gentleman who called early in the show about the old school, about Alabama and Notre Dame playing for the title.
Yeah.
They just played a few years ago for the title, and Alabama beat them by 45, if I'm not mistaken.
Point taken.
Number
Point
2,
taken.
Clemson Pitt matchup tomorrow. If you remember a couple years ago, the upset down at Clemson, the All-America running back, Wayne Gallman, didn't play the game. That's why Deshaun Watson passed 60 times. Tomorrow, the running back, his first name escapes me, Etienne, is healthy, will play, so Clemson will not have to throw the ball 60 times. What do you think about that?
I hope Clemson has better decision-making between now and then, because I'm glad you brought up Deshaun Watson. I had this discussion with somebody not too long ago. We were talking about this game. The play that changed that game was deciding to throw inside the red zone. It wasn't the 60 passes. It was that one throw inside the red zone that Salim Brightwell brings the other way, and it changes the game for Pitt. It's the certain situational plays that I think make the difference. We got to take a break. We'll wrap up when we come back. Stick around.